right, guys. So sorry about that. We had a little issue. StreamYard just dropped my live and it came back with Wi-Fi is not stable. So, all right. Well, we'll just keep going. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay. So where we left off about main character syndrome, which is a very real problem, and I believe it is the reason why we're having what we're having on YouTube right now. Um, and this is what we were talking about before YouTube, before StreamYard. I just decided to just drop my live right there. So anyway, I'm going to go back and we're going to finish up part two. It's going to be a little bit of a short one, but we'll start back where go back to where we left off, okay? Because I figured out where it dropped it. So anyway, um, let's go. Let's see. Well. Okay. Okay. Here we go, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, I had it right here. Okay. I left off at the word empowering. It said empower and then just dropped off. So there we go. And damn it, it's right here. Okay. We talked about consider some social media detox. That's one of the things we did. We talked about right here, I believe is where it is. Okay. Oh boy. See how, and we talked about how what you're doing is impacting other people, which is another part of this that suffer for people who suffer with this main character syndrome, right? Um, Another part is taking a pause when you're trying to reinvent yourself and look at yourself. I know we also talked about what I think that this could be corrected. I think that it's it that I don't think that this should cause her to lose her whole all of her work. She's worked very hard for that station, that channel. She's grown it pretty big. And I don't want her to lose the whole thing because of this. And she may think that I'm totally wrong, and that's fine too. Whatever, that's fine too. I just feel like there's just parts of this that I think if she could step outside of herself and look at the inside, she might realize that what we're talking about could absolutely apply to her. But anyway, that's again, it's not my business. So I just want to talk about it and explain to people what the actual term means. So here we go. We were talking about empowering. It can be empowering. It doesn't have to be all negative. It can also help people. Hang on just a second, guys. Okay, so here's where we left off. It can be empowering or encourage. It can be. So it can encourage people to act in ways or step out of their comfort zones and reinvent themselves to improve aspects they want to work on, right? So, how do you make main character energy work for you in a way that doesn't cast you into exile? Because I hate to see that happen. I do. So, know when to be the guest star is it's the key. If you are celebrating someone's birthday or graduation or some other important event, or if someone is confiding in you about their problems, you should always allow them to have their spotlight and think about things from their perspective, right? Don't make it about you when they're talking to you. You're not self important, right? You're not the most important. The most important thing for someone who struggles with main character energy is to know when the guest star and letting other people have the spotlight. Okay, working on empathy can be helpful for someone who has main character syndrome. And sometimes it can be good to do some self reflection, like in a journal, to reflect on how other people react to you and how you're presenting yourself. Embrace authenticity, right? When tapping into your main character energy and taking up the spotlight, ask yourself if what you're saying, doing, or participating in is something you would say or do if no one else was watching you. Imagine yourself being on a camera, but dress, act, and say what you would normally. Say it without a show, without a presentation, or try to be someone you are not. Take a pause. Reinvent yourself. Reinventing yourself from time to time can be a good thing, especially if you have been putting off honing certain aspects of your personality out of fear, shame, or guilt. As a You can also highlight aspects of your personality that you love, that you want to become more forward facing and publicly known. If you're funny, focus on that part. Try to find ways to bring out your funny comedy style, and try to bring that out. I mean, where this can become negatives and when you're being fake or you're adopting someone else's personalities that doesn't fit you, these behaviors won't usually last long because they're not true or genuine to you. Okay. Now we talked about this once before when we were reading our book about the memoirs of the sociopath, right? Because she talked about all the time having to uh, mimic other people's personalities or other people's behaviors because that's how she could fit in normally. She learned that if she did what they did, she would be accepted and nobody would notice that she was absolutely a sociopath, right? So, I mean, that's what one of the things that we had talked about before. The main character syndrome revolves around the internalized ideas you have for yourself. When this happens, you run the risk of overlooking how you're impacting other people. The constant craving for attention, okay, and for validation may lead to an imbalance in relationships. Sometimes people with main character syndrome may struggle to truly listen and validate their partner's struggle, which kills the honest and open communication. Um, to offset that risk, pause. Ask yourself how you affect those around you. Or simply ask them what they think about you as a person and how you can handle things differently or ways you can better your support for them. Just take extra precautions to hear from other people about how you make them feel. It can make all the difference. You want to take a step back, reverse those roles, and take inventory of how you fit into other people's lives. Talk to a therapist. There's nothing wrong with it. If you feel like people are telling you that you have main character energy, it's good to take a pause, take inventory of what they think. A therapist can work with you on how these behaviors have developed and how it's impacting your life and the lives of other people around you. Do some imagery. Try imaging yourself as a movie, and how you would want that movie to end. What would you want the end of your movie? What do you need to do to help find more direction or reach a little bit higher than you would have in the past? Main character energy can help you dream, and doing some guided imagery can help you figure out where you should set your sights in order to achieve your goal. Okay, we talked about this. Consider that social media detox, okay? When you step aside from social media, it helps reduce the issues you have around the fear of missing out, making your comparisons against other people. All in all, a social media detox can help you appreciate yourself more. Mindfulness is always helpful when you're trying to present in a moment. It can help be helpful, I'm sorry, and it can be helpful to detox from social media. Put it aside while you engage in real life. Too often we spend way too much time on social media, especially when you have a channel, because you are always having to produce content. It's a constant, and in the world of YouTube, you must. I mean, the key to YouTube is consistency, right? You've always got to be putting out content. Now, that doesn't mean you sit on 9 hour lives and talk about how important you are. It means you bring content every day. It doesn't have to be an hour, 2 hour, whatever. It can be 30 minutes. It can be 20 minutes. Just bring something important about the world and about what's going on to social media. Okay, that is consistency. In true crime genre, we understand that a lot of the times it's negative because of all the things we see. And let's face it, this biggest case out there that has caused a lot of this drama was horrific. It should have never happened and it could have been avoided. One of the things I will tell you that I think would have stopped all of that was Zulema Pastinas, Melanie Gibb, and Melanie Pulaski. They knew that they were doing these castings, and they knew what was being said during these castings. And they also knew this was very dangerous. And they also knew that these two people believed that what they were telling them was absolutely true. Now, whether they believed it or not, they realized that these two people, in their mind, believed it was all true. Okay, and so that is very, very dangerous. Had any one of those people went to the police and said, hey, I think these people are dangerous and this is why, I think this could have been avoided, and that is so sad. It's very sad when you realize that somebody could have opened their mouth and none of this would have happened. Bless his heart, Charles Vallow. That man did his best to bring attention, and that's right. People weren't listening, or he brought the attention a little too late. Regardless of how that happened, had anybody opened their mouth, I believe he would still be here. He was a good man. I cannot believe that Lori Vallow, or Lori, Daybell, as she calls herself. I cannot believe what she did. It's just, it's unforgivable. And the fact that she thinks that she is some kind of exalted being and that she is going to leave the 144,000 after what she has done is another part, is another level to this situation that tells you what's wrong with. I mean, she's seriously got some mental issues. I'm not a psychologist. I'm nothing. But based on what I've seen, heard, and read, and some of this comes from Dr. John himself, who I think he's really good at his job, which is the other part of this. Um, I understand supporting your wife. I do understand supporting your spouse. I do. But as he said himself, I mean, I don't really think that she was ever competent to stand trial. I really don't. I think that her mental health was always in the way of everything she was doing. And I just think in the long run, had she had great mental health help long ago, that some of this would have been avoided as well. Because this was not new for her. This was an ongoing struggle that she had for years and years. If you go back and look at all the history that's been brought to light by members of her family, and by press and by again, hidden true crime, and the people that actually covered this case, you'll see that. But anyway, um, mindfulness is very important. Okay, so pick one small thing to focus on. If you're truly looking to embrace your main character energy for the power of good, the smallest way you can do that is to focus on one characteristic or aspect of your personality and explore it to your heart's content. Picking one aspect of your personality to explore and how you want to present it to the world, it's a new way that can often make a lot of sense of your role in the world and all the feelings that you're experiencing. What is something you want other people to take notice of? Take inventory of that and then see how you can present that in a way that doesn't cause harm to yourself or others. So I'm going to come back up here because I want to, like, I mean, when you talk about main character's energy and self-care and preserving boundaries, okay, let's talk about that for just a second. Yeah, I'm going to go back up for a second. I know this is hard. I know it's anyway. How to set a healthy boundary, because this is one of the problems that's happening over here, and it happens to a lot of social media influencers or social media people who create social media. I mean, you may have heard of people establishing healthy boundaries. Well, what does that even look like? Well, for starters, a healthy boundary can look like a lot of things. If a friend wants you to stay out later than you do, or then you decide instead to trust your gut and go home, that's a healthy boundary. If your significant other has become too demanding of your time and you ask for some personal space, that too is considered a healthy boundary. Okay? Healthy boundaries, allow us to retain our identity. They prevent others from taking advantage or manipulating us and promote healthy relationships. Allow us to be appropriately assertive. Empower us to strive for personal goals and establish empathy for others. Boundaries are the framework we set for ourselves and how we want to be treated by others and how we treat other people. It's setting up how you want to be treated. It promotes physical and emotional well being, and it respects your needs and the person's needs in your relationship. So, if you have a colleague who's getting too personal with you at work, they're making you uncomfortable, you may want to stop that behavior in its tracks and explain what you expect and respect. So, how do I start setting boundaries? All right. Well, the first thing is knowing what your needs are and what you need to be healthy. Have a good self esteem and retain your sense of identity. Now, okay, we talked about previously in part one of this the people who have low self esteem, okay, and that is part of that narcissistic personality trait. That's just part of it. So, you want to have a sense of identity. To do this, consider making a list of your core values and beliefs. What do you need to be happy? What makes you feel safe? How much time and energy are you willing to spend with different people and situations? How to best communicate, interact with you. That's something important. People need to know that you need to set that boundary so they know what to expect of you and what you expect of them. So you also want to make sure you follow through on your boundaries. If you don't act on them, it may make it harder for other people to trust your boundary setting. Okay? No boundaries are with blurred boundaries. This happens a lot in social media. And that is one of the problems here because ingratiating yourself into the life of the victims of a crime and then spending a lot of time with them and you've made them feel real comfortable, you made them feel like they're part of your family, but then when that case is over you've moved on, right? So the boundaries were crossed. There's blurred boundaries happening right there. That doesn't need to happen. You can do this safely and with respect and still bring their story or be their documentarian, because you are the documentarian. We go back to that because that's what we are as a social media creator. We're talking about real life people, real life situations, and we're just bringing it to YouTube. We're bringing it to the world. We're talking, we're telling about it. Okay. So, so if setting boundaries is new to you, I would encourage you to start with small boundaries. Start with small things to change and help build confidence when you set those larger boundaries in the future. I know that a lot of us have fear of confrontation, right? So setting a healthy boundary can seem frightening, but don't worry about that. I mean, if you worry about rejection or feel guilty for putting boundaries in place, but it's important to know that that's your right to carve out your space. You need for things that will make you happy, free, and safe at the same time. A lot of other things that go on here is codependent relationships. If you're a people pleaser or you're in a codependent relationship, knowing how to separate your feelings from someone else's can be difficult, right? But it's important. But you can always start this practice at any time. And the more you practice, the better you'll get at it. And you can be flexible too. As your life changes, your relationship will change and evolve over time. If you ever feel like something is off, or it's never too late to go back on track and reestablish those boundaries. And that's kind of one of the things. It's a big thing that happened here was that blurred boundary across or just an inappropriate relationship with the victims and their families. That's part of what happened here. So social media, I mean, having a channel, it can be very toxic, right? And that is your workspace. If you are a creator, that is your workspace. A lot of us are retired from some other position in life, and we've been a mother, we've been a father, we've ran our household, we've done many different things, and then we decided, listen, I would like to go out into the world of YouTube and talk to other people, maybe to create a safe place for other people to talk, or to just have a a healthy relationship with other people um, on YouTube. I mean, we collaborate, we do all these different things, and we don't really know these people in chat, but we talk to them because they're in our chat all day. Anyway, there are boundaries that we set at work. And it's the same thing. If you're a creator, you have to have boundaries. So it's a toxic work environment. It is. It's problematic. If you're let's say you're feeling burned out, right? And you come onto YouTube and you start your live and you just feel like it's the same thing over and over and you're just dealing with difficulties and things like that. Maybe don't come onto YouTube that day, okay? Maybe just take a step back and rethink. Take a day off, recharge, take yourself away from social media so you can recharge, rethink, and not come on and create a toxic situation on a live show, because once it's in the internet, you can't take it back. It's there. That's it, right? So there's just a lot of things about this that should have never happened, and I really think it just goes back to uh, the main thing that we talked about, which is main character syndrome. It's just, I can see how easily it would happen. the attention-seeking behaviors, the exhibiting the dramatic behaviors. It's so easy to happen. Let's talk about disassociation for a second. Um, Here we go. Let me go back one time. Here we go. When we talk about disassociation, it's pretty, when they talk about people with narcissistic personalities, they talk about people who have multiple personalities. We're gonna talk about Letitia Stouch for just a moment, because kind of some of that comes back to her, right? Um, and disassociating from her previous experiences. Now we know she has mental issues. You can listen to her, she'll say, no, I don't, no, I don't. But if you go back to the beginning of the trial and you listen to everything that happened there, the first thing she went with, as she went to DSM-5, I'm going to prove that there's something mentally wrong with me, right? She tried all that. Anyway, so a form of disassociation in which is depersonalization, okay? Depersonalization. They feel detached from their experiences and specifically themselves. The feelings that come along with depersonalization add to the surreal nature of the events. People describe feeling like a zombie in a fog or a dreamlike state. Things don't seem real. May feel like they feel like they're watching or observing themselves from a distance as if they're an actor in a movie. With depersonalization, you're typically always, you're aware that your perception is off. Okay. But that doesn't make it any less strange. It's like an out of body experience. Some people have described it that way. Some people have described it as floating above or beside themselves. Okay, we talk about near death experiences that were in the Chad Daybell books and things like that. Well, I don't believe he had out of the body experiences. I think he had disassociations or depersonalizations. I believe that's what it was. Personally, but we've all experienced at some point a disassociation in our life. So, what causes depersonalization? Well, the exact cause it's not clear. It's very complex. But some of the causes, and it's signs of depression. It could also be a sign of other mental health conditions, including schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. A lot of people talk about OCD as if they're OCD, but they're typically not really OCD. But you have to be actually diagnosed by a professional to have OCD. What's the difference between depersonalization and derealization? Because of two different things, okay? So when learning and talking about depersonalization, you might also hear about derealization. It's a similar disassociation with one key difference. While depersonalization is about someone feeling detached from themselves, derealization is when a person feels that the things around them seem unreal. Okay. It's almost like we're talking about Lori Vallow, right? Except for she believes all of this. So maybe not. So depersonalization doesn't feel as socially isolating from others because the response is more internal. Derealization is similar, but it's more focused on being detached from what's happening around you. So when you hear about people who discuss their crimes, they're like, it wasn't real. It's like I was in a movie. Okay. They're exactly describing derealization. Okay. So, therapy, if you know you're having this, please go seek therapy. Okay. Um, there's a lot of things that come into all of this. Um, drugs, alcohol, past traumas, things like that. A lot drives people into into feeling or having these situations in their life. It's based, a lot of it's actually trauma based. But anyway, I just wanted to come on today and talk about main character syndrome and why I kind of feel like, or what it kind of looks like, and that maybe that's the problem over here. I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody, and I understand that it's none of our business what people do. It isn't. It's really not. None of our business what they do with their channel. I know that, but I just don't want to see something that was worked for become something that is now gone because of not seeing within themselves what was actually happening. And it wasn't just today, it wasn't just yesterday. This has been going on for a while. It just was building, building, building. And had somebody not brought it to us or to the attention of others, um, that person may not have ever had to learn to deal with the situation, right? It might have just kept on going, might have just kept on going. But sometimes things that happen to us can be a blessing we didn't know we needed to have. Okay? Because when it brings things to light that we need to do or self-examine, self-correct, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's never bad to take a step back and say, wait a minute, what am I doing and how am I affecting other people? You know. Um, it's, I mean, having main character syndrome, it just impacts your entire life. It impacts your relationships. It impacts your self perception. It impacts your mental health. And it's just something that needs to be addressed. Seek professional help. Practice self awareness. Increase your empathy, right? Um, when you think about the symptoms and behaviors. Take a look at yourself. See if you're suffering from this. Okay, self-centeredness. That's big. Attention seeking. Yes. Exaggerating situations. That's big. Dramatization. Yes. Lack of empathy and an inflated sense of self. We know that most of the people who suffer from this, who also have narcissistic personality or narcissistic traits, all seem to suffer from an inflated sense of self and lack of empathy. Those are two things that they all have. All right. Anyway, so I'm gonna end my part two with this. Just a little overview. Main character syndrome is a term for a mindset where a person views themselves as the protagonist of their own life. Often they determine often to the detriment of others, leading to self centered and attention seeking behaviors. It's not a clinical diagnosis, but a colloquial term for social media that describes beliefs that their life is a movie and others are just supporting characters. Signs include an inflated sense of self, lack of empathy, and romanticizing or dramatizing their experiences. And I think that's kind of what's happened here. But anyway, you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by. I think that Sprinkled and myself will come back with a live. I know we're planning to do Devil and Tate this week, and I'm very excited about that. I mean, if you get a chance, please, please pass the fire along. Post it on your social media. Put it on TikTok. Put it on X. Please post the missing information about Devlin Tate. He needs our help. He's a very vulnerable individual. I don't care that he's 18 years old. Because we've been able to talk to his biological mother and some other people in the family, we have realized that some things have went on, and it's just, I mean, that he needs help. He needs our help. He needs to be found. He needs to be brought into he needs to really go back to his mother, to be honest with you. He needs to build some more life skills before he's out into the world as a grown adult. And I think that some of the things that were happening to him at home where he was living has created some of this problem. But we'll touch base on that later. I just wanted to come back, finish my discussion on main character syndrome, because uh, StreamYard just dropped my stream right in the middle of it. I think it was like 24 minutes into it. It just dropped it, and it flashed a statement that said, Wi-Fi is not stable. I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, so I'll talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy your day. And I always say, stay safe out there. Be careful and hug your babies. Bye, guys.